You know, I really like CZ, but I don't like this CZ. And that's what we're going to be looking at today as I give you 7 guns I really wish I did not buy. I'm also going to include some of the guns that I didn't buy, but I think are useless. I'm going to tell you why I think they're useless, but I also don't want to just give you an opinion, which is all this really is, without a solution. So as we go along, I'm going to tell you some guns that I think are actually a better option for about the same price, sometimes cheaper actually. We're going to get right into it, and of course, leave your opinion down below, whether you agree or disagree. Let's go and jump right in. Now, I want to cover this one, but actually I want to talk about one that I didn't buy, but I saw for sale the other day. It was actually the first time I'd ever seen one, and that is the Lifecard 22. Now, it's an intriguing design because it literally is the size of a credit card, and it folds to like a ½ inch thick. 7 ounces. You have one in the chamber of 22, I think WMR or LR. You can hold 3 additional rounds in the grip, and of course the selling point is how thin and easy these guns are to carry. Let's just be honest, that is one of the things that hinders a lot of people from carrying is the weight, how uncomfortable it is. It can be cumbersome at times, and so with something like that, you're like, oh my gosh, this kind of solves all of that. Well, when it comes to self-defense though, that's where this gun is not going to do well. Now, I'm not going to say that it can't save your life, hey Ruger, but what I will say is that it is not a gun that I would necessarily really depend on to save my life. I wouldn't want to have that as my only option if given the choice. You got one shot, so you got one opportunity. Never mind the fact that you can hold 3 in the grip of the gun. Good luck even trying to load a second, a third shot, much less a 4th one. The other problem is 22. It's just simply one that actually is one of the most dangerous rounds in the world, but that's because of how accessible it is all over the world. And it's not something that's necessarily going to have a ton or really any stopping power. It's more designed, when those rounds actually hit somebody, it's actually because of the way they're designed, they just kind of bounce around. So while they can absolutely be effective, it's more like effectiveness based on how much it bounces around and what it hits while it's bouncing. It's not something like a 9 or even a 380 or 45 that has known effectiveness and the ability to stop somebody from trying to take your life. Now, these things are actually priced. You can get upwards of like $400. There's a threaded version too, by the way. I would never pay for that. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But regardless, I just think for $400, buy yourself a bodyguard. This is the best carry gun right now for anybody that is wanting to cut down on their weight. If you have a back issue, if you're a female, you wear tighter fitting clothing, dude, the Bodyguard 2.0 is a fantastic option. Smith & Wesson absolutely nailed this gun. And the best part is, talking about 10 and 12 rounds of 380 with a real set of sights on there too. Easy to rack, easy to carry. Get yourself a Tolster holster. I got a link and a discount code down below so you can save yourself money there. And these guns, like I said, even brand new, the price, the value, the gun, the effectiveness, everything is 1,000 times better than what you'll find in a Lifecard. That's just my opinion. Now, that's my opinion on that. The other small gun that I want to talk about, well, I'm going to tell you here in a minute. But I want to mention something. This is for a series of guns, really. And let me pull one off the wall so you can see it. Now, FN is one of those companies I really, really like a lot of the stuff they do. Then there's guns I'm like, I don't really care for that all too much. The Reflex comes to mind. Their FNS, right, or FN9C, I think it's the FN9 Compact, or I'm just not a fan of them. I think they could have done a much better job. This is the FNX45, but I don't even really want to talk about this gun specifically. I want to talk about this, the threaded barrel. Now, my friend Kyle actually said something interesting, though. He's like, people will buy threaded barrels and they don't even own a suppressor. And it's not like they try to hide it. They just say, yeah, I want a threaded barrel. Okay, what kind of can you run it? I don't have one. Not yet. You know, maybe is what they say. Now, buying a threaded barrel and you have intentions of buying your first suppressor or you already own them, totally fine. But if you're just buying one because it looks cooler, you're literally throwing money away. Not only are they extra money, they add additional length. So if we're talking carry gun here, now you're adding more length on there, like carry guns with threaded barrels. Key 365, I think the Hellcat, and some others. In my opinion, it's like, why? Unless that is your only gun and you use it for home defense too. Okay, I get it. But if you own a suppressor, whatever. But you're just spending more money if you don't own one. It's like, for what? And then you got to keep up with the threads. You got to keep up with the protector. If you need to take this gun apart to clean it, you know, you got to take the thread protector off. You may lose it. You may damage the threads. And then it's like you spend extra money and there's literally no reason to do that. Yes, you will get a little bit more velocity, okay, admittedly. But other than that, save yourself some money and buy something more useful for your gun, especially if you don't have plans or have any kind of suppressor or plan on getting one anytime soon. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the CZ Scorpion. This is the 3+ carbine, and you know, when I got this gun, I want to say this was nearing the end of the injunctions that were happening with the pistol braces. Somewhere in that timeline. So I was like, you know what, instead of dealing with all that crap right now, I'm just gonna buy the carbine. And for a gun like this, although it's light, it's chambered in 9mm. The only true purpose I can see this thing for is a trainer. Maybe, I guess, if you want some light 9mm carbine instead of something chambered in a rifle round. To me, let's just say truck gun. If I have my pistol on me, right, that is my pistol. That round I know is going to be ineffective anywhere out past 20 yards, let's just say, 25 yards. Realistically, so if I'm going to reach for something that I need in a defensive situation, I want to reach for something that's going to be much more capable than a pistol. And while this is going to give you better velocity, better accuracy than any, you know, traditional two-handed pistol is going to give you, or any pistol really, if I'm going to have something this long, I think I would just much rather have a rifle or a rifle caliber pistol. Something similar to this CZ Bren 2. Now you can already see one of the benefits here. We're much shorter. We got a 7.62 by 39. They chamber these things in multiple calibers, but now I'm getting the effectiveness of a rifle round. And to me, I think that just kind of speaks volumes. And it doesn't have to be a CZ Bren 2, you know, but any like AR pistol. It's just going to give you superior ballistics and an incredible advantage over something like this. Now, pistol caliber pistols, like if this is in pistol form with a brace, that's going to be a little bit better. If you have something like an FPC, right, a folding carbine, then to me the effectiveness goes way up because that's a backpack gun, right, a survival gun, something like that. But a full length carbine length, whatever, in 9mm, I just find them less and less useful as technology keeps on giving us better options that are shorter in rifle caliber. I just don't see the point anymore. Great gun, by the way. I just don't see the point anymore of something like this over those. Okay, here's one I've never bought, but I've handled and I don't like them. I think it'll be kind of obvious why, but that is the North American arms. The little revolvers, they got interchangeable cylinders, right? Multiple chamberings, all that kind of stuff. But I find them to kind of have the same problem as the Life Card, except, you know, when you're loading these things, you got to take the cylinder out, right? And there's a little bit of a process to that. You load them up, you put the cylinder back in. You have no trigger guard. And while you have to pull the hammer back every time to fire, not only is that going to slow you down, so you don't have any double action capability. You wouldn't want double action in that gun without a trigger guard on it. You know, you're talking about 1 1/8 inch barrel, so of course your accuracy is going to suffer. The sights on them aren't that great. I think they even make a 32 and a 380, but even those, when I'm looking at them, I'm like, why would I ever buy that? Or even the North American Arms little 22s. They're cool, by the way. They are pretty cool, but why would I ever buy that over something like an LCP Max? 10 rounds, 380, great trigger, great set of sights, get you a pocket holster, boom, you're good to go. To me, for the price that you'll pay for a North American Arms, brand new anyways, much rather go with that Ruger, and you're going to be about the same price sometimes maybe even cheaper. So again, they're kind of a cool concept, but why would I ever choose that over an LCP Max? 10 rounds, 380, great trigger, great sights, get you a pocket holster. Now, I think this is the second or third video I've done like this, and one thing I like to throw in these videos is like guns from history that were useless. And so this one, we're going to talk about the Apache revolver. This thing is pretty ridiculous when you look at it. It's a gun that uses brass knuckles as the grip, a removable cylinder, and then has like a mini bayonet. And it uses like used like a pinpoint metallic cartridge, and so it actually had a primer on the side. When it was struck, it would actually ignite the powder, sending the bullet off, right? So kind of an interesting design made by a French guy, Lefecho or something like that. Rough guess, side note, by the way, France trying to get the Statue of Liberty back. Good luck with that. So anyways, developed in France, interesting design. You had to like basically turn the thing around whenever you wanted to fire it. It folded, right? So you had to unfold it. You had no barrel to speak of, no real sight. So your accuracy is basically nothing. And you had to pull a cylinder out to load it. Just think of how wildly ineffective some of these guns were before magazines were made. You know, I mean, I think I would rather have a single shot musket, you know, at that point. And really what they were trying to do with designs like that and the pepper box revolver is try to get more rounds, right, out of the technology that they had. And that's always been the goal, to have more rounds while still having like a concealable type of gun. But this one just went overboard. I mean, they literally added everything into this gun to try to get this idea to work. And while it's funny to look at, it's a crazy, cool part of history, but totally worthless. And then there's the XT series. Now, I remember really liking this series of guns. There was the one with the grip zone back in the day. And it was a fantastic gun for the time period. And then I just kind of got away from Springfield Armory for a while. And then they came out with the Hellcat and the Echelon and guns like that, and I was like, oh man, these things, they've really done a great job. When they started making their own designs, remember this started life as like the HS-2000, which was essentially a cheap Croatian made gun, and then Springfield Armory took them over. But over time, they've, in my opinion, they haven't gotten better. So this is an XDM Elite, right? For the price you can buy this gun at, there are so many better options. I think I've shot this thing one time. It's chambered in 10 millimeter. And I'm just not a fan. I don't like this hex wasp on top. That has nothing to do with the gun. I just, side note there. But the bore axis is significantly higher. The sights on it aren't fantastic. They're too low profile, to be honest with you. You have the goofy grip safety here. You got a big old wide grip. And while the trigger is decent, it's still not fantastic. There's just nothing really fantastic about this gun. Now, if it was $300, then I would be like, okay, now we got something. But it's not. It's way more than that. It's double that. But now they have one that is $300. That's the XD Mod 3. But it doesn't say grip zone anymore. So they took that stupid little thing off of the grip, okay? But it has the little milled wings in the rear, so it's easier to charge. Comes with steel sights, a fiber optic in the front, pretty decent trigger, 116 round magazine, and the ability to put an optic on there. It's already cut for an MSRP of like $325. That is a screaming deal. Now, if you're like, okay, I still don't really like the XD series, one thing they have done in recent years is come out with the Echelon, which in my opinion is one of the best striker fire guns that have come out on the market, hands down, in the last couple years. I kind of wondered for a while if companies were going to be able to kind of match or exceed what's been done with polymer frame striker fire guns, kind of all the same thing. Well, the Echelon is a different level. If you are kind of in between this and you're like, I don't know if it's worth it, maybe I like the XDM better, go into a gun shop, if they have both, grab the XD Mod 3, the XDM, and the Echelon. Pick them up and you will instantly see this just feels better in the hand. It's slimmed down where it needs to be, more aggressive serrations, better front sight, to be quite honest with you. I still wish they'd change that rear sight, but whatever. Has the Viz locking system, so you don't need a bunch of plates and adapters and all that kind of stuff for your optics. Picatinny rail, fantastic trigger, and one of the best shooting guns, pistols that I own. This thing is hands down just absolutely incredible. Springfield Armory has really done a lot, in my opinion, with the Echelon and the Hellcat especially, to kind of break away from what was the XD series and make some real, true advancements in their pistol line with the Echelon and the Hellcat. But if you're on a budget, that XD Mod 3 is really hard to beat. And the last one we're going to talk about is from IWI, a company I actually like a lot of their stuff. No, it's not the X95, but the rifle that I think, I'm glad I didn't buy one, to be totally honest with you, is the Carmel. Now, at first glance, my first thought about this gun was it's like the Beretta, I think it's the RPX or the APX rifle. Remember that kind of goofy looking thing? It had a baby with a CZ Bren or something like that, plus a scar. It's really weird conglomerate of these different types of designs. But the first thing when you pick this rifle up is like, man, it's not necessarily light and it's super awkward. The handguard is too big. The stock on it, which can be replaced, though, it's still too big. All the way around, this is just a chunky rifle for no good reason. It uses M-LOK, which traditionally is supposed to slim down a gun. But, I mean, the Israelis don't really believe in slimming down when it comes to handguards. I mean, even with this X95, you know, it's just chunky up here. So if you do like a thumb over bore and you're looking for a piston-driven gun, the Carmel, I don't know that I would ever buy one. I like different designs and I like piston-driven guns, and there's some cool features on this one, but it does not look like an $1,800 gun. Let's just say that. I doubt they're even going for that now. I can't imagine that this is too popular of a design. And I mean, heck, this IWI X95, I absolutely love this thing. And while it is a little bit chunky in some areas, chunkier than it probably has to be, it still is a cool, innovative design. Bullpup, you know, overall length is very short, you don't have to SBR and all that kind of crap. So it offers me some clear advantages where the Carmel, I can't really see too many advantages over a high-end AR, over something like a CZ Bren, or any number of other rifles out there that for about the same or a little bit less money you could get into. This is one, to me, in my opinion, they should go back to the drawing board and try to slim the Carmel down, something else, and maybe get a new designer to work on this one, because I don't like much about it, to be quite honest with you. So there you go. Those are 7 useless guns, or 7 guns I'm glad I didn't buy. A mixture of all that, I suppose. And of course, I want to hear from y'all. What are some guns that you've bought that you're like, man, maybe you liked it before and now you're like, I don't really like this design, or maybe there's something better out there that you've tried. Leave your opinion down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.